Right, so today I'll be talking about Chapter 6 of Scaffolding Language and Scaffolding Learning by Pauline Gibbons. This chapter is called Reading in a Second Language and Culture, Barriers and Bridges. So the barriers are things that are preventing our English learners, just anyone, learning how to read, and the bridges are things we can do to help them. Okay, so they begin the text by giving us a 3 paragraphs. They're all scrambled in different ways, and at the end of the text, they asked us if we were able to decode it. So me being someone who's proficient in English, I've grown up reading English, I was able to read the text, and basically what their point was although the words weren't in their normal order, you were able to use clues, basically decode what was going on in the text, and we had basically my previous English knowledge helped me decode everything that was going on in there. This is something that our English learners always can't rely on, so we can help them with this by providing them with pre-reading activities during the reading, and post-reading activities. So some pre-reading activities would be, for example, introducing them to the main ideas, so they can still have like a background knowledge about what we call the field of the subject. While the reading's going on, we can check in, see how they're doing. There'll be like activities like during the reading to help them out, scaffolds, and then breaking down the reading into separate parts, checking in, seeing how they're doing, what they're understanding, and then at the end of the reading, we can help by summing it all up. So having a group summary, we're just talking about what we just read, why we just read it, and that will tie together major points. She also talks about reader roles. A reader is a code breaker. What she means by a code breaker is when I'm looking at text, I see the words next to it. I basically unscramble the words, give them meaning in my head, and then move on to the next one. Reader as a text participant. This is something that we rely on our background knowledge of the subject. So basically how I read a text depends on like my world views, how I see it. Reader as a text user. A reader as a text user is someone that, like, say I read a passage and I'm able to talk about the passage with people or apply it to my everyday life. That's reader as a text user. And then reader as an analyst. A text analyst is me understanding why the text was written, who it was written for, and what way if the text may be biased or something like that. In terms of our English learners, the biggest thing is a lot easier for them to learn to read in their native language than it is in a second language. So if they already have the knowledge of their native language, it'll be easier for them to learn a second language because they can reflect upon how they did it in their first language, instead of if they're being exposed to a different language that's already foreign to them, and on top of that, they're trying to piece together this whole reading thing. Then towards the end of the text, they just give us ideas of how we can help scaffold for English learners. Some of the ideas are like picking out key vocabulary words to introduce them to the topic before the text begins. Rereading for detail. One I think was jigsawing it, so each person picks like a little piece out of it. Together they just deeply read that part, then they hear other people talk about the other parts of the text. That was the gist of it. Alright, thanks.